Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, presenting to you the daily quiz for 17th of February 2022. But before we begin, here is an important announcement. BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS is conducting a national scholarship test, and this will be conducted on the 20th of February at 11 am. To register for this test, follow the link that has been provided in the description box and fill in your details. You can take this test on 20th February, which is coming Sunday, and stand a chance to win some attractive scholarships. Please note that the registrations will close on the 19th of February at 6 pm, that is Saturday 6 pm. So do register yourself before the deadline if you wish to avail the scholarship for your preparation. Now let us begin and have a look at the first question for today. Consider the following statements with respect to the New India Literacy Program. Number 1. The scheme has been launched for the period of financial year 2022 to 2027 to cover all the aspects of adult education. Number 2, it will cover non-literates aged 18 years and above in all states and union territories in the country. Number 3, besides foundational literacy and numeracy, the scheme aims at imparting critical life skills and vocational skills development. Which of the given statements is or are correct? What is the context? This article in the PIB today has a reference to the New India Literacy Program. This new scheme will cover all the aspects of adult education to ensure that there is an alignment with the National Education Policy of 2020 and also the announcements made in the Budget 2021 and 22. Let us know more about this scheme as we discuss the options. See, the scheme has been launched for 5 years, that is from 2022 to 2027, and this will cover the entire gamut of adult education. So statement number 1 becomes correct. The total outlay of this scheme is rupees 1037.9 crores, and this is shared between the center and the states. Now let us talk about the age group that is covered under the scheme. See, the scheme will cover non-literates of the age group of 15 years and above in all the states and union territories in the country. But the statement here says that it will cover non-literates aged 18 years and above, so this statement becomes incorrect. Now talking about the objectives of this scheme. This scheme aims to cover all the aspects of adult education. So besides foundational literacy and basic numeracy, the scheme will also impart critical life skills such as digital education, and also vocational skills development will be focused upon. Therefore, statement number 3 is correct. So the right answer to our question would be option C, 1 and 3 only. Moving on to question number 2. Consider the following statements with respect to Pasuvula Panduga recently seen in the news. Number 1, it is the most important festival of the Bodo tribe. Number 2, hunting is mandatory as a part of the festival. Number 3, the festival is dedicated to cows, bulls and other animals that are a part of the agrarian economy. Which of the given statements is or are incorrect? What is the context? There is a reference to this festival, that is Pasuvula Panduga, which is a cattle festival celebrated in Andhra Pradesh in today's The Hindu newspaper. Critics of this festival argue that this is similar to Tamil Nadu's Jallikattu, which is a bull chasing sport that had made headlines a few years ago. And there is a reference to this issue in this article, and hence we've taken this question. Now let us talk about the Pasuvula Panduga festival. This festival is dedicated to cows, bulls and other cattle that are a part of the agrarian economy and is celebrated in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So statement number 3 is correct. If we know that this festival is celebrated in southern India, we can easily eliminate option number 1 as well. Why? Because Bodos are the ethnic tribes of Assam. So statement number 1 becomes incorrect. As we've already discussed, this is a cattle festival. It involves bull racing and it is not a festival that involves hunting, so statement number 2 also becomes incorrect. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option C, 1 and 2 only, because the question is asking us for incorrect statements. Moving on to question number 3. Which of the given statements with respect to green hydrogen is or are incorrect? Number 1, hydrogen produced by electrolysis using renewable energy is known as green hydrogen. Number 2, green hydrogen is generated from natural gas or methane through a process called steam reforming. Number 3, green hydrogen production is the cleanest form of hydrogen generation since the byproducts are just water and water vapor. What is the context? This article in the Hindu newspaper today that talks about the World Sustainable Development Summit has a reference to the National Hydrogen Mission and also green hydrogen, and that is why we've taken up this question. So what exactly is green hydrogen? See, hydrogen when produced by electrolysis using renewable energy is known as green hydrogen. Therefore, statement number 1 is correct. What happens in this process of electrolysis is the green hydrogen gas is produced by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen using an electrolyzer. And the electricity that is provided to this electrolyzer is through renewable energy sources such as solar and wind energy. And this helps in significantly reducing the carbon footprint. Also note that this electrolysis process that is used in the production of green hydrogen is the cleanest form of hydrogen generation. Why? Because the byproducts are just water and water vapor. So statement number 3 is also correct. Coming to statement number 2. There are different types of hydrogen. For example, there is blue hydrogen, black hydrogen, brown and also grey hydrogen. And this grey hydrogen is produced by the method of steam reforming and not green hydrogen. So this statement becomes incorrect. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option A, 2 only, because the question is asking us for incorrect statements. Here's a task for you for today. The task is to let me know what is blue hydrogen and what is black hydrogen and how they are produced. Let me know in the comment section. Now let us take up question number 4. Which of the given statements is or are incorrect? Option A. The interest rate that the RBI charges when commercial banks borrow money from it is called repo rate. Option B. The rate at which RBI lends to commercial banks by buying the securities sold by the commercial banks is called as reverse repo rate. Option C. The interest rate that the RBI pays commercial banks when they park their excess cash with the central bank is called as the reverse repo rate. Option D. The rate at which the commercial banks borrow money from the RBI by selling their securities to RBI is called as repo rate. What is the context? There is this article in the Indian Express today that talks about repo rate and reverse repo rates, and hence we've taken this question. See, repo rates and reverse repo rates are the most common terms that you would have come across while studying economics. Let us understand what these are as we discuss the answer. Repo rate and reverse repo rate are the interest rates that a commercial bank accepts when it lends money to RBI or pays as and when it borrows money from RBI, right? In simple terms, the interest rate that the RBI charges when commercial banks borrow money from RBI is called as repo rate. So option A is correct. And the interest rate that the RBI pays to the commercial bank when they deposit or park the excess cash that they have with the RBI is called as reverse repo rate. So option C is also correct. Now coming to option B. When RBI lends to the commercial banks, say by buying the securities that are being sold by the commercial banks, the rate charged by RBI to the commercial banks is called repo rate, right? Because this is the rate of interest that is being charged by RBI to the commercial banks. Coming to statement D. This statement is just a twisted form of what we just discussed. The commercial bank is borrowing money from RBI. How? By selling their securities to RBI, and now RBI will charge an interest to the commercial bank, and this rate of interest is known as repo rate. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option B, as this is the only incorrect statement. Please note that using these two rates, that is repo rate and reverse repo rate, RBI sets the tone for all other interest rates in the banking system as well as in the broader economy. How? For example, when RBI wants to encourage economic activity in the economy, it reduces the repo rate. When the repo rate is reduced, the commercial banks, for example, the State Bank of India, can bring down the interest rates that they charge on their loans and also bring down the interest rate they pay on the deposits. And that is exactly why these two rates are generally known as benchmark interest rates. Now let us take up a previous year question from Prelims paper 2016. Who of the following had first deciphered the edicts of Emperor Ashoka? Option A, George Bihler. Option B, James Prinsep. Option C, Max Muller. Option D, William Jones. And the right answer is option B, James Prinsep. In the year 1838, James Princip was able to decipher the edicts of Ashoka, and he was the first one to decipher this Brahmi script. And one of the most interesting observations that he made was that in the earliest inscriptions as well as the coins, the king was referred to as Piyadasi, which meant pleasant to behold. Now let us take up the fact of the day for today, which is Tarapur massacre. What is the context? The Chief Minister of Bihar has said that the 15th of February will henceforth be commemorated as Shahid Divas, and this will be in the memory of 34 freedom fighters who were killed by the police in Tarapur town in Munger district of Bihar. So what exactly happened in the Tarapur massacre? It was 90 years ago. On February 15, 1932, a group of young freedom fighters planned to hoist an Indian national flag at the Thana Bhavan in Tarapur. The police was aware of this event, and during this event, the police carried out a brutal lathi charge. However, the freedom fighters were successful in hoisting the flag, but the crowd pelted the police with stones and injured one of their officers. And to this, the police responded by opening fire on the crowd. And as a result of this, large number of deaths were reported and 34 bodies were found at the spot. And this is now referred to as Tarapur massacre. So what was the trigger for these protests? Say the hanging of Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru in the year 1931 had angered many people across the country. And subsequently, as the Gandhi-Irwin Pact collapsed, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested in early 1932. Another reason that angered people was that Congress was declared as an illegal organization. Nehru, Patel and Rajendra Prasad were also imprisoned. Following these events, a Congress leader, Sardar Shardul Singh Kavishwar, gave a call to raise the tricolour over government buildings. It is in this context that the freedom fighters planned to hoist an Indian flag at the Thana Bhavan in Tarapur and were killed in the brutal firing that has now come to be known as Tarapur massacre. The sacrifice of these freedom fighters has now been given recognition, and 15th February will be recognized as Shahid Divas. That is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Keep watching and keep learning.